Hey folks. Well, you would be dreaming, Chris. No, that's not the plan at all. Sounds boring. Hey, last time I made a DayZ server, you joined it. I saw you once in 4.5 months or something. Yeah, well, Trench is getting on a bit. Old people will do that. Just the first stages of the dementia. Is that not just the adult equivalent of I am rubber, you are glue? Trench. Certainly sounds like it. I don't know why, but I made the decision that I would start off by trying to get the original server working again as a sort of test of what mobs were working and what needed updating and so on. Of course, everything needed updating, but it's not gone well. It's mostly running. But then we run into this compile error, which I think is because I have a mod on it that is designed for a map that's not running. I know there has. I'm well aware. The intent is for a combination of everyone's favorite Inedia with a bit of this. But we will have to see. Although we did, yeah, well, I'm talking about mod updates as opposed to game updates. I know about the game updates. Although I was intrigued to see that Mr. McLean, pain in the ass that he is, has a completely abandoned all of his past. This is the line and I'm not leaving it. And is now making Deer Isle for Reforger. You know, the map that would never see the light of day in Armour. Well, he's making it for Reforger. Very explicit. Will never make it for Armour. I'm not interested in doing that. This is not an Armour map. This is a DayZ map, except for when I change my mind. But, similarly, I am looking forward to trying Deer Isle out in an Armour environment. I'm personally not interested in Reforger in the slightest. That is definitely a stepping stone, and I will just wait for Armor 4. Partly because, while Reforger is clearly a mechanic advancement on what Armor was previously, visually, somehow they've managed to make it look not much better than original Armor, which is based on a, 20-year-old engine? I'm not entirely sure how they've managed that, but yeah. That is how servers go, Ian. Okay, so what I think I need to do is abandon attempting to run original server, because we've got it about as far as I can get it. The only thing that's preventing it from running now is, I think, issues with the mouse mod. I might be wrong, but I don't think Poe ever touched the DayZ stuff. The mod updating process for DayZ is fucking weird, and I certainly never talked to Poe about how it was done. I would be very surprised if he touched any of it, other than like updating DayZ itself, maybe. What a gorgeous mess. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with this, and these should just contain keys and configs, right? Yeah, just config files, cool. So we can begin by getting ourselves a stop. Waiting to load. Hey, Paladon. Thank you very much. And that, I believe, begins with going through this. This now needs to be changed to modern folder. Config, that also needs updating. So let's find our config file. And what config file were we actually using? Oh, these things. These things. Okay, that config file's alright. That's not the scary one. Alright, Kate. Let's see. Server.
Another boy joins the crew.
And with that. Alright, back to this. That side, please. And I will have that on the other side. There you go. Hey, Nelby, how's it doing, man? So, this begins by at Deer Isle. No. No need for churners, any of that rubbish, as winter is actually built into this one. Base building, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this can go away. Animations, that mod is only required when you're using the mouse survival stuff on a different map, I'm pretty certain. Get rid of building fortifications, Warcraft. That, bit of that. Cool. I guess might have been slightly misleading when I put the word server in it, and that makes the assumption that this server will be a public one, and that's not necessarily true. Here I go.
We got ourselves enough boys to get back in the fight.
Hey, dude. Right. What other things was I adding? Laggy remote desktop. Probably because I'm still on Starlink from earlier. Is it going to be like the last one? Sort of ish, I guess. Again, reverse back a little bit to the point where I said don't assume that this is going to be a public server. And I emphasize that, underline it a few times. It's possible that it is, but I would not take that as any form of guarantee. Don't think there's anything specific on it. RimWorld server, but people are nuts. What RimWorld server? RimWorld's a single player game. It has a multiplayer mode. That multiplayer mode doesn't work using servers. and maybe supports 3 people, perhaps 4 at a push. It's doing fine. It struggles a little bit the more latency is involved, as in playing it with Splitsy and Capac. We occasionally run into issues, but it's doing okay. I don't know if it's updated. Yeah, there's a different Rim MP where you don't MP. Here. There's a different RimWorld MP where like you can see that other people are on the same map as you, but you don't interact with each other. I think you can send caravans. It's that sort of level of interaction. More of a play together than a cooperative or a multiplayer. And yeah, they'll all be broken at the moment because the new DLC came out, so. Or probably all be broken. I don't know if Namalsk needs its own custom mission class. It does.
Loverboy joins the crew.
Mission file, this one here called Hardcore. Yes, that's the one we're after. And then it'll need loads of modification, because of course it will. So, in here, I actually have the regular Namalsk already installed. Thank you, Fog. That's awesome, dude. Thank you very much. Hey, Lydia. How do? No, Electro is Churnerous. Electro is standard map. Default DayZ map. Namalsk, you probably won't have played on because Namalsk is an old favourite that isn't a very big server. It's one of the reasons why I'm saying don't assume that this is public, is because Namalsk probably only good for 20 to 25 people at absolute most. It's not a big map. It's a cool map, but it's not a big map. Wonder why Wasted is interested in the Namalsk. It's tropical environment, yes. Cold, and if I'm being honest with you, a number of the weather effects that we used on Deer Isle were straight stolen from Namalsk. Namalsk is also one of the few other maps than Deer Isle that has a storyline and objectives. It's also a very heavily military-based location, which gives me lots of opportunity to do some fun stuff. And there is Namalsk. No, it's not about like claymores and landmines. But it is a good site if you wanted to have some sort of scenario where people were fighting over areas. Right, I need to download the actual... Because this Dear Isle mission class is not going to work. Not even a tiny bit. Ew, it's Internet Explorer. In fact, you're not even going to work properly because you're still locked down, aren't you? Can I have Chrome back, please? Well, yeah, one of the places it's still kicking is on actual server installations of Windows. Just quietly admitting that while they'll quite happily ship a Chromium-based browser to your average pleb, when it comes to like business, not a chance in hell we're putting Chromium in. Nope, you're using Internet Explorer. Might raise a few questions, that. Why is it that the professional versions don't come with Edge? What is the correct methodology for downloading fucking files from GitHub? I have never managed to work it out. It's like, that's great, they're on GitHub. Now what? What, am I supposed to click them one at a time? Clearly there's supposed to be a way of handling this. Well, they've got stuff for the central economy tool, that's useful. Okay. Yes, apparently there's more than one code button. Big green code button. What if I don't want everything? Oh well, it doesn't matter, it's on this server, isn't it? So. Fun, fun, fun. But that should also mean that if we do that and then we go in here, I should be... Is the economy editor in here? No, it's not. Where is the economy editor? Wait, that's the wrong tools. That's armor tools. Go away. I wondered why it was installing a bunch of extra stuff. Like, I've run this before. Why are you doing this? It's armor tools. That's more like it. Basically the same program, but has slightly different things in it. Wow, this is a browser from a very long time ago. Bingo! Alright, how are we looking? That's fairly sensible. 4 whole tiers of loot. What? What? Sorry, I should put this into perspective. This really is a absolutely awful server browser. Or file browser. Both laggy and bad. This is quite impressive. Yeah, Deer Isle has about 15. Maybe. No, Deer Isle's got like 19 by the time he added some stuff towards the end of us playing on it. This is being used. This is being used tags differently. You say that. No, take me to the GitHub. Okay, well that didn't work then. Roger. I don't want to download the entirety of Deer Isle, you arse. I just want this file. Which is not going to work. I swear they do this on purpose. Actually, no. We know this dude from past experience. He does it because he has absolutely zero interest in how it works for anybody but him. He has a plan for it, and that's it. Oh, nice. Your central economy folder doesn't actually contain the things in it you need to modify it. What a surprise. He has restricted it down a bit. That is the name he uses, yes. You see how this is a much smaller map. I'm going to change the zoom level. Yeah. By 16 by 16, and the mouse is positioned weirdly. But looks like about 10 by 10, maybe a little bit over 11 kilometers. Okay, but I am getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's go back to where we were. This can be... like so. What's this? That's the CE editor. Haven't bought. What do you mean bought a mouse? The mouse is a mod. Couldn't buy the mouse even if you wanted to. Oh, you're in the Steam folder for some reason. Why did I install it on the Steam folder? That's just annoying and awkward to get at. There we go. Frostline. This is the DayZ expansion. That's Cherners. I know Cherners when I see it. There we go. Sakal is the name of the Frostline map. Definitely not inspired by anything. I assume that the other version of it is with English names? No. There's just... oh, right. There's just inverted colours. I think it's called Frostline because there is a line of frost separating some of the map from the rest of the map. Interesting, right? Right, in theory, clicking this will make a mess in my config folder. Alright, once I bought that already, honestly, adding those things in immediately was always going to be a bit of a risk, so let's just get rid of them. especially as they are from another person's server with no information on how they work. Not a good start. Errors with a mod that I have literally only just installed. I probably don't have the keys for it though, do I? Yep, that's my problem. We need to get keys sorted out. What else did I add? The mouse. What's your key like? Simrak's by key's got to be in there already. He does loads of stuff. Yep. Okay, what about this? Setting up a DayZ server is so much fun. Same key. Cool. Okay. Let's give that another go. You can't really hit it with the automation hammer, because you run very quickly into an issue where basically the DayZ server has no ability to download its own mods. It's so not set up for modding that the server client cannot download mods, and the process to get the files to mod your server is literally, there's a reason right now the server is actually running proper Steam. It's so I can launch the DayZ client, full DayZ game is installed, give the DayZ client a mod list, it downloads the mods, then I can take the folders that it has downloaded, put them into the server folder where they need renaming because the client understands folders with spaces in them, but the server doesn't, so they all need to be renamed, like Lads Lighting Overhaul. Well, that needs underscores or dashes or the spaces deleted. In order for the server client to be able to read it, you then need to go into this folder and copy bits out of it into other folders into the installation. So this key needs to go somewhere else. Often there is also, that's a bad example, but if we go into, let's have a look, DayZ Bicycle. In here, we've got CFG event spawns, events, and spawn table types and types. The data from those files needs to be appended to the files the server runs. Good luck fucking automating that. It is a proper mess. Which is dumb because it's... Actually, no, it's not dumb. It works exactly the same way as Armor does. A shock to nobody, given that this is the Armor launcher. Your problem isn't going to be the ability to automate it. Your problem is going to be then able to go in and interpret the contents of these files. Because some people will have these files nicely organized. Some people won't. Some people they'll be in tables. Some people all of this stuff will all be in one file. And you've got to open that file up and copy it out to the relevant places. Problem with automation is you need some consistency behind the screens. Otherwise, all you're doing is, like most of the automation is attempting to error check. No, because how do you know where it goes? How do you know which one goes where when they've all put it in one place? They might have commented it. They might just be expecting the person looking at it to be able to tell the difference between the various types that's all XML but need to be in different files. And then what do you do when you've got this one? where I have a spawnable types, a types, an events, and a CFG event spawns underscore churnerous. But we're not playing churnerous. We're playing the mouse. So now you've got to go and find the correct CFG event spawns for the mouse, not from the files provided, but from somewhere else. It'll almost certainly exist. It's just not bundled with the mod. But if you ignore the churnerous file, you've installed the mod, but it doesn't do anything. Without some sort of CFG event spawn modification, it won't do anything. Alright, where from? Because where you're getting this information from is not going to be consistent either. It might be on their Discord, it might be on GitHub, it might be on Steam. Right, I have been distracted by Sliver. I was looking in here to find out why it is being a pain. Because it should just work. And now we've got to go and find where they've decided to store their configs this time round. Because not a chance in hell is everyone going to store their config in the same place. My ribs are pretty fantastic, thank you very much. What are you actually erroring on? I absolutely despise this folder structure. This looks like something should have been defined but isn't, except there is no way of defining it. I'm going to ignore the fact that that doesn't work. No, we're not, because it's going to keep popping it up. This is one of these scenarios. Oh, for fuck's sake. Hey, dude. You know there's a little box here for dependencies. You don't list them at the bottom of your description. Just mixed in with some lines of text. Generally.
Another boy joins the crew.
And it needs a bunch of frameworks to go with it. Is the expansion core? I probably have. Is it going to be up to date? No idea. Which means we're going to need to... And this is such a fun system. Because you know what else they didn't think was going to be important? So we got this stuff in here. This is, in theory, up to date, except there's no checking to see if there are files that have been removed. It'll add files, it'll change files, modify them when there are updates, but it won't delete files that have been removed from the mod. But the game's mod handling procedure involves loading all files present within the mod folder that can be loaded. So they can update the mod, but no part of the update process or download process will get rid of the old files. In other words, in order to update mods properly, you have to delete them. You have to go and unsubscribe, let it delete it, and then let it re-download it. Why do you have to unsubscribe, you say? Why can't you just delete it? Because the Steam might have a cached version of that mod somewhere. In which case, it just restores the cached version. I can't repair a server mod. There is no repair button for server mods. There is no download button for server mods. There is no any button for server mods. So repair doesn't work. I assume that you're using the same key, expansion by key, which we in theory have, but I guess I should check. Doesn't look like we do, actually. Nice. Yeah, Steam loves to download things to 3 different places at once. It likes to download things to one place and then copy them to another place. I don't know why. Okay, well that should have been the missing dependency. No, I haven't added it. I haven't actually told it to run it. Stop that. Yeah, indeed. Where is it? There. gonna work? Who knows? Well, that's a start. It's not freaked out yet. Hey, here we go. The mouse drink. Do I even need that? Isn't that a mod to add the mouse weather compatibility to other maps? It's so fun. Okay, you just get removed for now. Until I know I actually need you, I'm taking you off. Any other weirdness in there that could be taken off for now? I don't like it. I'm regretting, I've got to be honest, not just deleting the entire mod folder and letting it re-download everything. And then copying them all over and renaming the folders to follow the server naming pattern structure instead of trying to get this. Hang on. No. It read the mission, and at that point it goes wrong. Mission script has no main function. That seems unlikely. This is how... Dude, don't make me open up one of the armor ones. This is just how it works. There is no other way to do it. Unfortunately, this is just how it fucking works. So I'm gonna stick the DayZ expansion stuff right next. I see the problem. I'm missing one of its. I've only got one of its two dependencies on. We need dabs as well, don't we? Which I don't think I've updated. double check. DayZ expansion stuff. Needs dabs, yeah. Slow progress. No, don't open the PBO. We don't want to open the PBO. Go away. Have I actually loaded Namausk itself? Oh yeah, it's there. So the question then becomes, why is it not loading it? That was one I did re-download today as well. We got the buy key, I checked that earlier. What was your actual error message? This may well be server config problem. No world with name Namausk. Okay, that's fairly explicit. That probably needs to be changed. Roger that, Ram. Stupid language. That was it. Thank you. For anyone wondering, that was the results of typing with a UK layout keyboard into an American setup. Language input. So my ats weren't ats, they were something else. Okay, we're slowly moving forwards. Now it's issues with the mission initialization script. Which might be due to that. Because this has a few. Because I'm pretty sure I just downloaded that init script, so it should be working. Rest of this stuff's going to be a total mess, but you started actually making me some config files. One or two. Okay, so the event manager seems to be coming from a mouse survival. Why would that be breaking? Ah, because I did the same thing with the app there. Did I do it anywhere else? Should be easy enough to check. Find. I see it. I'm wondering why I've got why I had Spawner Babuku set as a server mod specifically and not anything else, and what I should do about it, because that is not in use on this map at all. So it might be a case of actually I'm also running other stuff that I don't need to be. I was thinking about something else. That looks more like it. Because now I'm seeing it loading a whole bunch of other random shenanigans, which it wasn't doing before. Okay, we got another mod that shouldn't really be on. Additional frozen food. Where was that? That. I'll get rid of both of those for now. Oh, creeping up on it. Hello. 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 It's only working. I was worried initially because it said it had an FPS of 0.29, but now it has an FPS of 6,500, so... He's only gone and bloody done it. Now 9,000. This is an acceptable number of FPS, I think. Okay, now for the next bit. Now I need to go and modify my actual mod list. Oh no, first I need to stop running DayZ on this rig. Oh, wait, what's this compile error? Is that a new one or is that from earlier? Apparently that one was from earlier. We're good. 10,000 FPSs. Yes, so I'm not allowed to actually be running DayZ on the server anymore. Or DayZ tools, because now I need to go and open it on my rig. Hey. No, I want to be able to, I can't see the taskbar. I need this. Okay. Yes, yes. No. Fucking unload all of them. Get out of here. Oh, fuck's sake. Slightly sus. I have Sakhal as a locally installed mod. How did that happen exactly? I think that's everything. Except for the one random one that I added because I clicked by mistake, which is apparently PvZ mod The Dark Horde. Which we used previously but isn't on now. Actually, it involves quite a lot of XML. It's mostly XML and editing bat files. Good news, eh? Ah, good. An access violation, excuse me. Are you trying to open files that are located on an offline network drive by any chance? No, an access violation means it was trying to do something it shouldn't be. It was trying to poke at memory it's not allowed to be using. Any bets on how long Notepad++ will spend trying to open files on a network drive that aren't open? Isn't on? Okay, about that long. Why would DZN anything be running? Not on. Well, you're lucky. We've escaped from XML. Briefly. Okay, what was Survivor Animations a dependency for? It was a dependency for something. What was relying on you? Although it says it's been updated very recently. There's something... I sort of understand why people do it. But it seems to be a thing in DayZ in particular, where people just turn off all forms of interaction through Steam. No forum, no threads, no post at the bottom, nothing. It's like, okay, so my only way to find out if people are actually having problems with this mod at the moment, whether it's working properly or what, is to join your fucking Discord. Piss off. I'm wondering whether the two animation mods are fighting with each other. Because this is a crash on law. This has nothing to do with the server at this point. This is to do with the mods this client is running. Or it may be, thinking about it, that they are out of date. And the game's stupid and doesn't know that. You're right, Jerry. Yeah, just Discord seems to have replaced... Okay, so I was right. It's the two animation mods fighting. Maybe? God damn it. Alright then. Alright, I'll go find out what the actual password is. Also, DayZ, why are you running in full screen? Oh, I capitalized a letter when I shouldn't. I was so close. No, I don't know what I just clicked, but I don't want it. Video. Yes. No one runs full screen. Stop it. And okay, the AI doesn't actually have the animations as a prereq, so we can keep that off. And I don't know why that's not working. Oh, we having fun. I'm not sure if Armor is better or worse than this. Armor's got a little bit more tooling to help you set the server up, but then when you set the server up, you don't get any content with it. It's just like, congratulations, you've set up the server, you now have an empty map. What are you going to do now? You say I'm missing mods, except I can see the damn mod. And it's a mod that I only downloaded today. Why is the expansion animations, core, etc. in there twice? I'm supposed to cut and paste that way, so not copy. So in fact, it is still running the expansion mod. No, not 190. It's not your own server wasted. Wake up. 89.1. The server apparently does not exist. Guess I might have set it up so it doesn't list with Steam. It's possible. I'm using it unless someone's blocked off ports on the firewall that used to be open. That shouldn't be firewall related. No, it's just been run before. This isn't the first time I've run DayZ server off this rig, so the ports have already been set. You see, I just don't believe you, game. I think you're lying to me. Like, I can see Dab's framework in both of them. It's right there. Alright, I'm intrigued. How would you guys read that? Client has a mod which is not on the server. The server sets the mod list. Okay, so are those the server mods that I'm missing? Or are these all mods that I've got that aren't on the server? And what's this separate section about? Given that, you know, on here it's got, like, earplugs is mentioned here. And Dab's framework is mentioned. And, you know, that is Dab's framework. And that is the earplugs. So they're definitely on the server. And they're also here. So how does the... Armor and DayZ modding are not quite the same. So, for example, you don't install on the server with DayZ. There is no install. You physically copy the folder from your local installation to the server. So it's not really possible for the two to have different versions of something because they're copies of each other. Well, again, they're a copy of each other. You download it to the client first, and then you copy it to the server. So I can't see how the folders can't match, given that they are literally one is just a copy of the other. There is a chance that maybe Earplugs has got a file mismatch, but some of the ones it's talking about are new mods today. As in freshly downloaded. Oh, this... Wait. I think I might have found it. This might be a byproduct of one of... Yeah. I think this might be a byproduct of missing by-signed keys. So it's not that the mods don't match, it's that it doesn't know that the mods do match because they're missing their key to go with it. Not a config file, no. A key signing setup, certification. A file that is supposed to in some way indicate that this is... I don't know what. It's dumb. Because the files are just freely shared as files, so it's not a... It doesn't do anything, it's just annoying. I believe the idea is it's supposed to... It's an encrypted file. Each modder has one. It's not a file that it officializes the mod. It's a file that officializes the modder in some way. So he then includes it with all of their mods. It's the same file, and that says this mod was made by this person, and therefore if you've got that same file on your end, those two mods match. It's weird because, you know, some people might think to themselves, wait a sec, isn't there already a way of doing this? Isn't hashing a thing? Couldn't you just compare the file hashes? But apparently not. Apparently we need to invent our own way of doing things that's not quite as good and not very convenient. Hashing or yeah, exactly. Like, we have ways of doing this, but for reasons unknown, they chose not to use them. I say reasons unknown. Let's be real. There is an element of remembering that under the skin, DayZ standalone is Armor 2 with a graphics wrapper around it to allow it to use Enfusion as its graphics engine, which is the graphics engine from Armor 3. But everything else behind the scenes is Armor 2. I think I've missed a mod still, but this will tell me what mod it is. Uncle Backpack and earplugs. Wait, no, but I definitely did the keys for those. Yeah. Oh, I might not have done one for the earplugs. Don't recognise that name, but I definitely did the one for the backpack. It is slightly impressive that DayZ is a thing at all with how hashed together behind it is. Okay, we got it down to the hardcore backpack, which is definitely on both. Is definitely on the server. I'm looking at it. Call me strange, but it is standard procedure for the last item. Wait. It's standard procedure for the last item not to have a semicolon after it. However, someone did decide, me, to add a random quotation mark to the end. Speech mark at the end, which will be 100% why it's broken. Cool. Thank you, Rubber Ducky. You are the one. You do make bath time so much fun. And also coding. Well, it didn't look out of place to me because I'm very used to seeing blocks of code inside quotes. Because in things that aren't this, putting things in quotes is something you do. The brain was not like, oh, that's out of place, that shouldn't be there. Except this is a batch file, and yeah. Well, especially as I only ever do any individual one of them for like 2 months. So for like 2 months, I'll be hardcore into armor modding. And then we'll move on. And then it'll be Zomboid. And then it'll be Space Engineers and so on. And each one of them's using a slightly different set of languages. You know, someone's decided to fuck off with the XML and use something else this time. And so none of it sticks particularly well. So I come back and I'm a bit blurry and it's a bit confused and mixed up with some of the other things I've done. With the very common place issue as well, that I do seem to like to host games that are annoying to host. And, you know, end up needing like 8 different weird-ass programs from various areas on the internet to find that, you know, to start working with the mod side of things and so on. You know, you go start modding Zomboid and it's created, it's structured in just a bizarre way, and it's got its own tools and its own weird stuff, and then you move over to Armor, and guess what? It's constructed in a bizarre way, and it's got its own tools and its own weird stuff, and hey, guess what? We are now moving with a different archive type that no one else uses. Congratulations. And so on. And you just go through these, and it's all the same. Oh, Space Engineers. Hey, look, it's V-Rage, which again is slightly bizarre, and so on. We're sort of continuing through these. It almost makes Atlas seem quite nice. At least Atlas is Unreal, which is sort of an understood channel. Unreal linked directly to Steam. Like, that's quite straightforward. Subscribe to Thing. There you go. And yes, that is a good location, but that's not actually my server. I was playing random. Apparently, the last time I played DayZ, I was playing randomly on some public Namausk server. I don't recall doing this, but apparently that's what I was doing. We're getting so close. So on one of the two systems, Dabs is out of date or broken. Okay, so this means what we're probably going to have to do is go onto the server, close you. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's not even onto the server. We need to exit on this end, so, and that, so I can go onto the server, and now I can launch DayZ on this end. Where we can then go find Dabs. And we're going to unsubscribe to it. And we're going to wait for the thingy to keep up. It will. We're going to delete it from the server. And then, fun times, we're going to subscribe to it again. And then we're going to see. Probably you're going to download it. It's updated it. Cool. Now we can go to the workshop folder. Grab the Dabs framework. Move it over. And then rename it because server stupid can't take spaces in file name. Needs dash instead. Check that I used dash previously. I did. In theory, that is now up to date, so I can close that. Launch the server again, and then I can come back over here and go back into DayZ. SE2, Justified Route, looks like they're trying to go with the route, with a very similar route to how Unreal handles modding, in that they are going to have their own in-house maintained, but also kind of mandatory editor that you must go through if you're going to mod the game. But then they're going to try and flesh that program out to make that program essentially handle the whole process for you. Which is fine in theory. And it looks like the early version of what they've produced isn't bad. Unfortunately, this is a company who has a history of not maintaining anything they promise to produce. The only hope we have for this bloomin' editor actually being any good is if it's not a standalone program, but is actually the editor they also use, but they've got a more beefed up version. I don't think that's the case, having seen the editor. It looks spatially made. It looks like it's specifically, this is the public mod editor, and then in-house they're using something else. And if that's the case, I slightly worry for it. I don't think it's to last long. Because but what they've done is they've dug themselves in a hole. This mod editor was clearly planned from the start that they were going to have a mod editor for Space Engineers 2. And it was all going to be, you know, a lot more streamlined and organized, and in theory, with that, accessible. Because, of course, modding helped carry Space Engineers, and I don't think they're blind to that. So having modding as a primary feature in Space Engineers 2, no big surprise. The problem is, they started working on this way in advance. Piece of software, from what I've seen from screenshots, etc., actually looks pretty good. Someone's clearly spent a lot of time on it. A lot of time before they realized that launching Space Engineers 2 was going to happen early to an audience of yeah. So the problem now is that mod engine needs to keep being developed, to keep being documented, keep being worked on, keep being maintained to keep up with the game. Who's paying for the person that does that? they've made the decision to move it all in-house and then flopped the game on launch. So now, why on earth would this company then continue to invest in the user software experience when they're in a position where, this has happened? Especially a company who, let's be real, has promised us all sorts of different tools in the past, and they last about 6 months. The replay tools, the filming tools, all the various bits we get, they last like 6 months. And then the game updates, and it doesn't keep up. And then a few more updates down the line, stuff starts breaking, and then by, a year and a half later, the tool just doesn't work anymore. Yeah, we don't know why they did this. We will not know. They're not going to come out and tell us why they made this decision. We can make the assumption that it is because of money. Because, let's be real, good AI, AI people, all their other projects are not free. They're not developing that stuff for nothing. Their fancy building and their staff of 60 people, etc., don't cost nothing. Is it 16th? So for the last update, they managed to hit 131 online. You can't even really... That's the peak for the last update. Which I think was the mod editor update, wasn't it? No. The financials could make sense. There's nothing to say the financials do not make sense, because we do not know for sure what's going on behind the scenes. It is still an assumption that they released this early because they needed money. It could be that Keen is perfectly happily funded for the next 5 years, 10 years, and they can actually sit back and just continue to work on this, and it has a chance to claw its way back. No, I don't believe Space Engineers 1 funds, if you're talking about original release funds, I don't think any of that's left. That got spent on good AI, on Z Orangerie, the building that they... No, Space Engineers 1 made more money than that. More money than just ME. They bought their fancy building and their offices, and they dressed them up really pretty, and they funded good AI and AI people and Marek's weird drone project in South Africa. They funded a bunch of stuff with it, but it was not SE2. SE2 is being funded off of DLC sales from SE1. And his Roman Centurion armor and his Roman Centurion portrait and so on. But Marek cashed out on SE1. He didn't reinvest that money back into Keen. He cashed out. That's why it took such a long time for SE's development to complete, and why it took such a long time for DLCs to become a thing. I'm still of an opinion that they launched SE to release candidate to 1.0 simply so they could start selling DLC, because they needed the money to do so. And in reality, they've made themselves one hell of a cash cow with SE DLC. Couple of artists spend a couple of months kicking up a few pointless new blocks. DLC time, let's go. Another bunch of cash, please. Yeah, we don't know. Maybe they will be fine. Hello. He's only gone and done it. Times 2. No, I can say it every time. Why have I got markers on the map? One of which says Bohemia Interactive and one of which says Loot Stash. They are apparently server markers. I believe if I gave myself admin... Oh god, these are the old... It's kept the markers from the other server. Because they're in the config file for VPP. So I've still got, like, the Scout Shack and Xeno's hideout and so on. It's confused because it's the same IP address. Right, first things first, freeze to death. Which it looks like is going to happen quite quickly. Simple. Cold is an easy and direct survival mechanic to mess with. All of the effects of cold, pretty much, are all ones that you can translate to the player in some way that's understandable. And honestly, also, I would say while there's a lot of hot places on this planet, there are considerably more dangerous cold ones. I just want to check all the heat mechanics and so on are working. First things first is I want to make sure that we are actually, you know, I know that things are functional. No, you don't. You hear a moose. Maybe a deer. Did is a strong term. We played on it briefly. Well, the winter settings were somewhat stolen from this map. What happened to me sticks? Ah. Not sure what I'm going to do with those sticks. I don't think I've got any way of lighting a fire. Oh no, you can light a fire with a flare, can't you? Okay. Shelter settings clearly working. To be honest, it looks like that side of things is already working, so... Next step is to start configuring to turn some stuff on and remind myself what the key is for the admin tools so that I can get proper coordinates. What's the rotate button in this? It's middle mouse, isn't it? In an annoying fashion. Or is it space? Thank you. Free duct tape. Crazy. End is not my admin keybind, or I don't... Actually, no, I won't have admin settings set up yet, right. I know the issue going down here. That's all working. That's all fine, but now we're at the point where it's actually generated us some config files that we need to set up. So we have all of these in here now, and it's time to go and make sure they're set up properly. So, first things first... When it comes to admin tools, I should be able to take an old setup for this. I doubt he's changed it. Wonder how much of this has been changed. I'm inclined to leave it mostly default to begin with. I've obviously messed with this a lot in the past. What I'm seeing here is not that changed. Zeds could 1 or 2 shot you to begin with. And then I turned them down. No, I understand that. I'm just saying, okay, and it can just be configured, just like all the other things. There have been multiple scenarios where his stuff is, like, able to one-shot you. That's not you. But it's just that bit. How did that take 2 out? It's just that. It can also just be turned off. And to be honest, I'd probably just mess with the block multipliers by the looks of things. Okay. Yeah, I think it's important to understand that, like, things stop because it's been a good run, time to move on. Like, can't just play on the same server forever. Time to start making some changes. How do I want to do this? Let's go new folder. Add-ons. We can put mod spawnable stuff in there. Nope. Nope. I'm glad people enjoyed it. So this is what really I want to mess with. Part of what's inspired the return here and another look here is I've got a few extra mods that crank up the survival a bit, crank up the realism a little bit. I've got some mods that crank up the zombies so that there's even more interest with them than there was last time. And finally, I've got this, which allows me to put AI military faction battles ongoing around the map. Although I will need to figure out, see if I can find a... Interesting. I searched for a config on Google on the basis that there may well be a config already for it. And the, like, Google AI write-up is surprisingly good. Like, to the extent that I might go and see if ChatGPT can actually write this for me. It's a JSON, and all of the files are available publicly on the internet alongside explanation as to what exactly this all does. So you might get lucky. it's fucking doing it. Not only that, but it's doing it having given and found correct this is the bit I wanted it to do. It's found locations on the map that are appropriate and given them appropriate names. So I don't have to go and find locations on the map. So I don't know where this stuff is happening because something's generated it for me. The code is not perfect, but what it has done is spat out the bit I needed it to, which was the locations. So to give you is there any way in this to have two windows open side by side? Or do I have to compare to do that? So it's some of it's wrong, like the settings bit at the start here is not in close to correct. There is a compare plugin, I have it. But some of this is appropriate. It's interesting, it really has got some of the formatting very wrong. Not sure I like how it's given a z-axis height of 0 for all of these. We might have to go and see how they behave. Interesting. I told it off and asked it for one that wasn't using incorrect syntax, and it has got a lot closer on the second attempt. It's still occasionally impressive. Suggested zone position values with Z elevation. But it then does explain that, as this is armor, Z values aren't necessary, but can provide increase AI accuracy. And then gives you ways of verifying Draenei. Yes. But it has just returned these same places, but now with approximate Z values. Yeah. Oop. Assuming that the stock Chernobyl zone, etc. map is just an attempt to remake the Chernobyl area in this, I've never seen that done well. So my interest is fairly limited. Well, I have seen it done well. I've seen it done well in Stalker. But otherwise... No, so do I, but I don't think DayZ is that game. I don't think DayZ is the right basis to try and build it off of, if that makes sense. I think you'd be better off starting with armor, actually. Okay, I'm starting to learn how to use this to be actually useful for me. So I don't ask it to generate the whole file. You just poke it for specific bits. There's a curated set of team loadout options specifically themed for the mouse, which has a harsh, cold, survival-oriented atmosphere with elements of military secrecy, abandoned research, and hostile environments. Loadouts stay consistent with cold weather gear, Soviet post-apocalyptic aesthetics, realistic tiers of competence, immersive and lore-friendly weapons. And then it spat out a selection of loadouts that might actually be formatted correctly. Unfortunately, the way these two... Is that actually how the config... Has it done something that I don't know about? It might have done something I don't know about. Can you actually specify loadouts in this file? You fucking can. Or maybe not. Okay, it can act. Okay, there is a half chance that the AI does know better than me. We're getting very, very close to something I can actually use. One moment, please. That is correct, Soph. It's also something that is okay. Interesting. This time round, it spat out a file. That file was confused. Nice one, Colin. It's only gone and done it. It's only got a single location in it. They've also messed up the loadout formatting, but I can fix that. It's a start, and I can go and nick the correct loadout coding that it provided me earlier. I think this is done in a way that's got too many brackets. Those brackets shouldn't exist. I do slightly approve of the fact that apparently ChatGPT follows a very similar file naming scheme to Wasted. We have AI Warzone settings _settings_amount_nomalsk.json. We have AI Warzones _settings_nomalsk_full.json. And we've got AI Warzones _settings_nomalsk_updated. And there we go. I believe that is all now formatted correctly and has custom factions that fit. I just need to fix this formatting here a little bit, I think. Oh no, that is the same as the formatting it spat out previously. It just did it in a neater way previously. Yeah. In reality, the only thing that's wrong here is it would have been much neater presented without splitting the lines on these brackets. But honestly, if you're following a proper syntax that's consistent through the whole document, that is the way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this into this window, and we're going to do that old compare that we were talking about. Set as first. Compare. Yep, that will be different. Yeah, you see, it did start getting the syntax correct. The only thing that's different is we've got the loadout section at the bottom, which they were using default in-game loadouts. We've generated some loadouts that are custom. Whether they work or not, I don't know. We might have picked some stuff that didn't actually exist, but the names looked about right. And hey, if it doesn't exist, it'll be hilarious, because we'll just randomly run into like half-naked NPCs having a fight. Letting it all hang out in like minus 20-degree temperatures. Perfect. Alright, next up. You can go away. You're an annoying window that shouldn't be open. Next up, we're back in here in the mission file. For regular mouse, there's a reason for this. Editing this in it because I think this in it needs changing to match the init from my last server because I already set these frequencies well. I already had this done relatively well for our Deer Isle shenanigans. So I think I need to grab the values out of this. There's a few changes, but this section, more importantly, hasn't changed, and my values are definitely different to theirs. I'm just having a look at what it was I actually did. Okay, so events are less frequent, but they're more likely to be snowfall and extreme cold than they are to be aurora or blizzard or EVR storm, but fog is up. I think mostly what I was doing was turning down aurora and EVR storm, because the EVR storm was happening just way too much. However, I think I might go for a balance between these two. So I might put the EVR storm back up again, because on this map it makes more sense, and same with the aurora. Like, the location we're in fits that better. Okay. I think before we... Oh, no, don't save that. Go away. Before we go any further, I should relaunch the server and check I haven't broken it. Plus, I also now have admin permission, so we can go and check that those changes I just made work and see what they look like. We can go find the naked people running around trying to fight each other with no guns because the loadout bit of the thing didn't work. And so no one's got any gear, but they're still angry AI. Oops. One cool thing about Namalsk is Namalsk actually has custom map music that's really quite good. Aha! What? The mouse is already exploding. No, seriously. Oh god, does that mean... That must mean one of the war zones is right there. Let's go have a look. Yep. Where was my... Oh, ESP. Hey, you. I don't think the loadouts worked. There should be a war zone here, but there's not. Oops. Yep, it has not worked because those loadouts don't exist. I had a feeling those were wrong. So yeah, this I don't think you can actually just add loadouts to the bottom of here like it's trying to do. Might be wrong. Oh, fuck you, AI. Are you certain loadouts are configured this way? Could you please cite a source? Yes, absolutely, you nailed it. The loadout system in AO Warzones uses exactly the syntax you specify. Names of loadouts for this, as comma separate streams. These names must match JSON files placed in the mod's loadout directory, typically under this location. Alright, first things first. This whole section needs to go away, including everything but the final closing bracket, I think. That comma. Yeah. I mean, I think I see the problem. That's because it is just straight up missed something. Why does this backpack have completely different syntax to every other set? In fact, the ammo having different syntax does make some sense. But this backpack has different syntax to the items as well. That, I believe, is the correct syntax here. I'm starting to wonder whether or not this backpack section, it's actually completely hallucinated. Because I'm looking at the names it's used as well. There's like tactical backpack underscore cold. I'm not sure that exists, game. Oh, fair. Okay, Galadas, so maybe it did actually format it correctly. But camo variant, but even if it does exist, this will be exclusive to the DLC, I think. No, I want specifically that. Yeah, I don't think that exists. I think it's making up items. Same potentially with this cold weather clothing set. Not entirely convinced that that is something that exists either. I don't necessarily recognize the names of... I don't know off the top of my head stuff that works. But I've scrolled through enough of these documents over the time to recognize something that I don't recognize, if that makes sense. Something that stands out as like, I don't remember ever seeing something like that. I wish I hadn't apparently reached my advanced data analysis limit on ChatGPT before I'd asked it to give me these things as a zipped set of files. So I didn't have to go through and do it myself. Especially given I'm not entirely certain it's going to work either, but... kind of tempted to give it a go and give it the benefit of the doubt on this one. A lot of it does look right. And I'm worried that if I just load it up with only a few of them defined, I'll end up testing it on one that just so happens to not use those ones. It's not the syntax I'm worried about, actually. It's is tactical backpack underscore NBC actually an item in the game? Because that's another one where I'm like, okay, police backpack is, survivor backpack is the AI hallucinating and just assuming that it can add that term to any bag? And now that bag exists. Because I have a suspicion that some of these, that's what it's doing. It's looked at it, it's picked up on the fact that the syntax for a bag should be this, and so it can invent them. Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, there is no backpack for the hazmat gear.
We got ourselves enough boys to get back in the fight.
But the definitions aren't in the directory. I don't know. The definitions are somewhere in DayZ's actual files and probably inside a package that would need to be extracted to allow Notepad++ to look at it. As Berlin. How do you, Exlo? Yeah, we're not referencing things from the mod, we're referencing things from the base game or from other mods. And anything base game is packaged, and a lot of the mod stuff is packaged. So you can't just peek at it that easily. I do have a program to help me peek at it, but Notepad++ won't be able to look into the files. I'll be looking at file names inside that package, unless I want to extract it. I wish. Again, Arma 2. Under the Skin, Arma 2. It's a game from the early 2000s. It's and Arma 2 is based on Arma 1, which is based on Operation Flashpoint. So, yeah, you're in an interesting place. It does look... okay, maybe I am... Okay, I might be not giving it enough credit. Because while we have defined Namalsk Raiders and Frozen Survivor, Black Ops Namalsk and Research Guards, we did not. Nor did we define West Loadout, which is a functional, existing loadout. Same with Police Loadout. So it might be picking up on some stuff that's actually from the Namalsk mod itself. And using the assumption that, you know, we're running Namalsk, so we have Namalsk. Time to find out, I guess. You're right there, dude. With your flare. Yeah, as I said, I didn't think there was an NPC backpack, but that is an item code list from what? Is that an item code list from base game? Is that an item code list from the mod? Sausage. Okay, so it reckons the Sebgen Dam is underwater. Yeah, it's very confused. Or this map is very... The coordinates that this is giving me is very wrong, which it could be. Let's see. No, they're just wrong. It thinks the dam is there. When in reality, the Sebgen Dam is here. Okay. Use STRG plus C. What is STRG plus C? Anyone with any interpretation for what SGRG plus C might mean in reference to a control input? What? Okay. That's bizarre, but sure. Wait, it's off. Okay, it's also hallucinated me a location called Vorakuta Military, even though Vorakuta has no military camp, as far as I can tell. Roger that. Thank you, Insus. You're talking about up here? What, this? The refugee camp? Yeah, I suppose it could be there. It's also done a good job of inventing a few locations as well. I'm just quietly making some changes in the background. You know how it is. Noticing some fun settings, like allow domination. The plan for this server is 7th day takes a good while to actually set up, the plan for this server is something to potentially do in the meanwhile. Although, as I've warned previously, not necessarily publicly. Setting up DayZ is considerably more straightforward than setting up for Armor. Ahoy, hoy. He ahoys and he hoys. And he asks what fresh hell is this? It's XML. Back again with many windows. So we've made some progress. We went from server not running to server now running but now wasted tweaking. And forgetting to change certain things. Or potentially put them on, those things. You may join, potentially, if I am sufficiently bribed. Look at all that Smid Smacks rubbish. I don't want your soul. What am I going to do with that? Put it in a bottle? No, because anyone with any sense will say the same thing as me. Well, what the fuck am I going to do with someone's soul? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but the deal is for the left. Right, well, one thing that won't be the case anymore is that stuff is just in the middle of a field somewhere random. Let's go have a look at a place where stuff might actually be. So, for example, the dam. And then we're going to have a quick check. Up. To see what the dam was set to. As far as it's supposed to be 100% chance. There's supposed to be 6 AI here with 100% chance. So I think this loadout shenanigans has just broken. No mouse. Strong vibes of none of them having spawned. No, I don't think so. Should be hearing explosions and other shenanigans. Oh, yes, that would definitely do it. Draga, you have a good mind. Yes, that is 100% going to be causing problems here. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do is just set up one as a test rather than trying to do loads. So let's go Sebjan Dam, and we'll have one team spawn location be as if they're coming from this side of the river. And the other are holding. Nice and straightforward. I mean, with the setup I've got now and some DayZ expansion shenanigans, what I'm, to be honest, at this point starting to think is what I'm going to end up doing is turning Namausk into a PvE map. We'll see how well the AI behaves and so on, but if possible, I think that might be something that gets done. Did I just change all the settings for Vorokuta military to the settings for the dam? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Well, twice as many NPCs then, in theory. Be fine. Yeah, I think there's a chance that loadouts are still potentially causing problems, so let's just make one work before we do anything else. Because this is just a mod that uses another mod that already has AI.